Ukraine is under attack by land, sea and air. For 70 years, no two major countries on this continent have gone to war on this scale. That era is now over.
Громадяни суспільства, тут всі ми тут захищаємо нашу незалежність.
Ukrainian civilians arm themselves against the Russian onslaught as Moscow's march on Kyiv appears to slow.
Vladimir Putin puts his nuclear deterrent on high alert while both sides agree to talks without preconditions.
The United Nations says more than 500,000 people have now fled Ukraine. We're on the border witnessing the painful goodbyes of thousands of refugees, leaving husbands, fathers and sons behind.
NATO is afraid of a World War III, but it is already started. And these are Ukrainian children who are there taking the hit.
More than 2,000 civilians dead in the first week of war with Russia, say the Ukrainians, and further casualties to come as cities across the country come under intensified attack. Russia's destructive power unleashed. Civilians are caught in the firing line as the International Criminal Court launches war crimes investigations. Russian troops are said to control Ukraine's biggest nuclear power station. America says the world narrowly averted a nuclear catastrophe.
President Putin says Western sanctions are already akin to a declaration of war.
Barbaric scenes today outside the Ukrainian capital Kyiv as Russian forces attack civilians trying to flee their homes.
Almost 1.75 million people driven from their homes as the scale of the refugee crisis defies imagination.
Here, Ukraine's President Zelensky made an historic address by video link to the British Parliament. Invoking Churchill, he compared Ukraine's dilemma to the one facing Britain against the Nazis in the Second World War.
A strike on a maternity hospital, the latest atrocity from the Russians on the besieged city of Mariupol.
Here in the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv, half the population, that's 2 million people, have already fled. And the remaining 2 million are waiting with dread for a further Russian assault.
Сколько эта трагедия может продолжаться? Сколько еще можно это терпеть? Россия сделала все для сохранения территориальной целостности Украины. Все эти годы настойчиво и терпеливо боролась за исполнение резолюции Совета Безопасности ООН 2202 от 17 февраля 2015 года, закрепившей Минский комплекс мер от 12 февраля 2015 года по урегулированию ситуации на Донбассе. В этой связи считаю необходимым принять уже давно назревшее решение. Незамедлительно признать независимость и суверенитет Донецкой Народной Республики и Луганской Народной Республики. Прошу Федеральное собрание Российской Федерации поддержать это решение, а затем и ратифицировать договоры о дружбе и взаимопомощи с обеими республиками. Два эти документа будут подготовлены и подписаны в самое ближайшее время.
Major breaking news this hour as Ukrainian government leaders say the Russian invasion has begun. And just a few minutes ago, for the second time this hour, we have heard air raid sirens, loud sirens here in Lviv. This is in the west of the country. They persisted for some time and from multiple parts of the city. They've only just ended. That's twice this hour.
Full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the largest invasion of a neighboring country in Europe since World War II. The Russian military attacking from the south, the north, the east, taking out military installations and moving closer tonight on strategic cities. This evening, the Pentagon believes they could be closing in on the capital of Kyiv. Pentagon officials saying the Russians want to surround the city and, quote, decapitate the government. Tonight, President Biden laying the deaths, the carnage at Putin, he said. And now he and his country will bear the consequences. All day today, the wrenching images of war, Russian military vehicles and tanks rolling through a Ukrainian checkpoint from Belarus. Images circulating online showing what appear to be Russian helicopters sweeping in during an assault on a military base.
In an invasion in which little escapes the invaded. This was a housing estate in the southeast of Kyiv, and the firefighters are battling the aftermath of a Russian cruise missile. No one really knows why the Russians targeted Tower Block 7 on Pashti Street. It may have been a stray, and miraculously no one was killed. But this morning the survivors were less interested in the how and more in the why us.
Что они створили, что они сделали с нашим домом?
No one had the answer. Not the old lady on the 4th floor, oblivious to the fact that her balcony was on the verge of collapse. Not the woman next door on the 7th floor, busy shoveling glass out of her living room. All of them wondering what the point of the clear-up is when this is just day 2 of an invasion that could last weeks, while holding their capital city and their president to political ransom. Are you scared?
Yeah.
You're going to stay here or leave?
Yeah.
You're going to stay here?
I live here, but I can't stay here.
Right. Where will you go?
I don't know.
Ми живі, більше нам нічого не треба. І щоб нас більше не стріляли. Дякую. А ви були бомбосховищі?
All of them conscious that their lives are suddenly as random as this piece of debris floating towards the missile crater.